Welcome to my home lab. In this new video we continue with the series around private Docker Registry. We want to secure it with Certbot and Letsencrypt. The first thing we're gonna do is to remove insecure registries and the daemon.json. Then we install Certbot on our Fedora server. Do some things with the firewall to open port 80 and 443. Create a Duck DNS domain, subdomain. With Certbot we create Letsencrypt certificates for that domain. And at last put everything together in our registry. Let's start. The first step is to go to the command line and do SSH to our Fedora server. Password, as usual. Enter. And we're in. First, we go to etc docker. We do ls and we see daemon.json. Daemon.json is the config file from Docker. We need to change that. We do sudo because we need to change it. V, you can use another editor if you want, and daemon.json. Enter, sudo password because we do sudo, and we're in. You see, we have here insecure registries, localhost, and the IP address from our Fedora server. We need to remove that. We do I for insert, and we remove everything. We escape, WQ, write and quit, and that's okay. The next step is to install Certbot. First we do sudo DNF update. You see we have some updates. Yes. It's a minor update, so it's going to be quickly. Already on the last step, post install. Here, 6 from the 16. System is now up to date and we can install Certbot. So again, sudo DNF install Certbot. You see, we're going to install Certbot and a couple of dependencies, especially Python 3. We do yes. And voila, Certbot is installed. Do clear again. The next step is to configure the firewall. The first command I want to show you is sudo firewall command list all. Here you see the active zone on our Fedora server. You see the interface and the services that are open. Cockpit, DHCP, and SSH. SSH, of course, we are using it. In the next example, we're going to open ports 80 and 443 for TCP. How we do that? The first command, I copy it, is sudo, again, firewall command, at port 80 TCP permanent, because we want to use it always. Enter. Success. The next is to open port 443. Same sudo firewall command at port 443 TCP permanent. Enter. Success. Now we need to reload the firewall. Success. And if now we do a list of our firewall with previous command list all, you see we have ports 80 and 443. I want to show you last command. Sudo firewall list all zones. You see here, that's all the zones inside firewall command. But only Fedora server is the default and active. You see here, default active. All the rest, you don't have that. So you can change from the zone server to zone Fedora workstation, block, DMZ, and Docker we have also here. Because Docker is also active, you see that here. But it's not default. See? And some have default. You see it here. Default and active. That's the one we're using now. The next step is to create a subdomain with Duck DNS. So the next step is to go to Duck DNS, log in. See it here, I'm logged in. Don't worry about the token, because after this video, this account is removed and the token is no more valid. Also, the domain will be deleted. I create a new subdomain. I do my home lab, Docker Registry. See it here. Add. I have removed the IP address, but the domain, the subdomain, my home lab Docker Registry duckdns.org is created. So we can use it. To make sure everything is working, you have to open the ports 80 and 443 from the outside. Because every modem or router is different. I can only show you my case. I have here alias. I call it Fedora server, HTTPS, the protocol, TCP. The port begin is 443. External port end is 443. So we do from 443 to 443. Internal port is also 443. Then the IP address from our Fedora server. External host is not needed. We have a description and the owner. The same for port 80. So we have a range from 80 to 80. That's only one port, of course. The port on the server, also 80. The IP address from the host, again, 192.168.1.299. A description for Fedora server, now HTTP, not HTTPS, and customer is the owner, that's me. Now we have the most important step. Create a Certbot certificate. So sudo certbot, cert only, standalone, staple OCSP, agree TOS, M email address, D the domain name we just created. Enter. Sudo password. This can take some time. I come back when it's finished. The certificates are in order. Successfully received certificate. So we can look at it. We do cd etc. Let's encrypt. Live. we need to do sudo. So first we do su password. And again, cd encrypt ls, and we see we have my home lab Docker Registry .duckdns.org, the certificates. We go inside it. Docker Registry. Duck DNS.org. Yes, and you see we have a couple of certificates. Next step is to use this certificate with our Docker registry to secure everything. We go back to the command line and do SSH to our server. Password. And do ls, and we see we have still Docker registry. We go inside it. In ls, and we have auth, the compose YAML file, and data. First, we need to edit the compose file. So we compose.yaml. This is the file from a previous video. To run a Docker registry with a password, but not secured. We have to change it. We do P for insert and go to the ports. The first thing we need to change is port 5000 to 443. I think you know it already, but the first port is the port on the server, on our Fedora server. The second port, 5000 in this case, is inside the container. Now we have to change some of the environments. Down, and we add registry HTTP address 00005000. This 5000 is the same as this 5000. The auth can stay. The realm also can stay. The path can stay. The next thing we need to change is two environment variables for the certificates. Here, enter, and we paste them in. We have registry HTTP TLS certificate, certs, in a minute, full chain. That's the name of the certificate, .pen. And also registry HTTP TLS key, private key, certs, that's a volume, 1 minute, brief key .pen. The other things, delete enable true, and fill system root directory can stay. The only thing we need to change now is the volumes. We have to add a volume. Copy it, search. Again, the first is on our Fedora server. The second is inside the container. So search here has to be search there. It means full chain goes inside this. Also private key go inside this directory. everything else can stay like it is. We do escape, W, so write and quit. We open a new tab on our command line, do SSH, password, usual. The first thing we do is SU, password. Now we have root privileges. We go to the directory where our certificates are, etc, let's encrypt, live, and the name from our registry. Enter, we do ls, and we see cert.pen, chain.pen, full chain.pen, and private key.pen. The full chain and the private key we have to copy to the cert directory. Therefore, we open a new tab, again SSH, we do ls, we go inside our Docker Registry directory, and ls, and we see we have both compose and data. We need to create a new directory, certs. So mkdir here, certs. We do ls again, and we see we have the directory. We can go inside it. Of course, it's empty. We go back to desktop and do cp from copy, full chain, .pen, to /home, username, Docker Registry, certs. Enter. Second, it's almost the same, but now for the private key. With key. And now we can go to desktop, that's again, and we have the two certificates. If we do ls all, you can see the certificates are not acceptable for every user. You have to change that. So we can do chmod, /777 full chain.pen. Of course, we need to do that with sudo. Once again, see, the first is already done. Now, second, for the private key. And that's all. And you see, the two certificates are ready for use. Now we can do Docker compose up to run it. We don't do detached because we want to see the logs for a moment. Enter. See, starting up. And we can go to our browser. Now we have HTTPS from secure, my home lab, Docker Registry, duckdns.org. That's the domain name or the subdomain we created, v2 and catalog. We refresh. And voila. Now we can look here, your connection, let's encrypt, you see it here, more information, and we have the certificate. You can see it here. It's valid until the 4th of August 2025. See domain name, see let's encrypt all the information. So we are back in our command line, clear the screen, and we log in to our registry. So Docker login and my oblat dot Docker registry dot Duck DNS dot org. Username and password. Now we pull an Nginx stable version from Docker Hub, the official one, not a registry on our server. See, downloading, extracting already. Here, voila, it's in our computer. We can do Docker. And you see it here, Nginx stable. Now we tag it or make it ready to push it on our registry. So Docker tag Nginx stable to my home lab. Docker registry dot Duck DNS dot org as new Nginx v102. Okay, now we can push it to our registry. So Docker push all that. Copy that, paste it here, and enter. And you see it's pushing. And voila, it's ready. We now go to our browser, refresh it. You see we have a new Nginx with a secure registry. The only problem is renewing the certificate. That's not yet done, but the video is already very long. We're gonna show that in the next video. So we are at the end of this new video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. See you later and thank you very much.